Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Grappler Union Podcast. Paul Maloney alongside Anthony Zito. On this episode, we have Comprido in studio. Comprido's a 4th degree black belt under Fernando Gurgel. He's a 2-time absolute world champ. He's one of the founders of Brasa Team, and he's the owner and head instructor of Comprido BJJ. Enjoy.
I hate the 6 minutes. What happens in that 6 minutes?
You told me using any technique that works. Never to limit myself to one style. Keep an open mind.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over.
In order to become more peaceful, in order for you to become better and strategize your life.
All right, we're on it. So we wanted to catch Comprido before he left the country again. Where are you going this time?
I'm going to Brazil. I have the camp I do with Felipe Costa every year. And I have to visit one of my students in a nearby city. So,
How long is the camp?
10 days.
10 days, okay.
2 a days, 3 a days?
2 a days. We normally have a break in between to do some sightseeing and stuff.
Okay.
We've been doing this for that's going to be 12 years this year. And we're starting in Brazil, in Búzios. And then we did one in Europe, in Greece. And we've been, the last 4 years we did in Mexico, in Cancun.
Wow.
And this year we're going to be back in Rio, in Brazil, but this time in Rio instead of Búzios.
Right. How many people are normally in that camp?
Vary between 20 and 30 people.
Wow. So you get some pretty personalized training then.
Yeah, it is fun. You know, we have enough time that we build some relationship with the students. We have a lot of people who always return because we become friends, and you know, we build a relationship outside the camp, and then they come visit me here. I'm gonna visit my camp students, you know, overseas, and that's awesome, you know. Like,
yeah.
And the camps that you run, are they all gi, or is it gi, no gi?
The majority is with gi, but we always have no gi classes, always depending what the students want to do more. You know, if it's a group who want a more no-gi, we do more no-gi. But most of the times, they prefer to do gi stuff.
Yeah.
And any judo?
I do take down almost every day. It's part of the warm-up.
Okay.
I do on my academy. So when I'm teaching, either if it's a seminar or a class or a camp, the takedowns is part of my teaching.
I like that. So you guys, when you guys spar at your academy, you start on the feet?
Yeah, here in Chicago we do most of...
If there's room.
Every time, yeah, depending, you know.
Right.
That's always a aspect. You know, depending where I'm at, if it's not enough room, we then go on the ground.
Yes. And you're from Rio originally?
Yeah, I born in Rio, in Ipanema. Spent all my childhood on the same house. My mom's still living on that house. I go back, and I know everybody on that street. You know, my childhood friends all become jiu-jitsu practitioners.
Oh, wow.
I have a good friend of mine who I know since I'm 9 years old, now living with me and teaching with me, Marcelo Cazuza.
Okay.
So he's my neighbor, and I know him forever. We're not even thinking about starting training jiu-jitsu. And then he went to training jiu-jitsu with a different coach, with Bolão, what's one of Carson Gracie's students.
Okay.
And we training at Master Academy with Jacaré. So we are in different teams for our entire life, and obviously good friends because we grew up together. And a few years ago, he was thinking about coming here, and then, you know, I managed to bring him, and then he's helped me to to teach. He actually just opened. We just opened a second location in Highland Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
nice. That's a good. Highland Park's a good area.
Yeah.
Are you near the downtown district area, like
Man,
2nd
I'm
Street?
right on top of the Tesla dealership.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, so Marcelo is there full time, and I'm in Bloomingdale full time.
Right.
But then I go visit Highland Park once in a while, you know, because I think it's important, even though it's obviously that I cannot teach in both schools all the
Right,
time.
right.
It is a school with my name, so I have to be there. I put the best
Right.
teacher I have
Right.
to be there,
Of
but
course.
I want to make sure I'm there. And
Yeah. Did you guys ever have to compete against each other? Are you guys the same size? No?
No, I never had to compete against him. I had another friend who was the same situation. He didn't go training in Bolão, and then I had to fight him when we are purple belts. And it was a really, really awful situation, you
Why?
know? Because the guy was my friend.
Yeah,
We're hanging out together. And when you compete in something like in martial arts, you know, that you have to impose yourself against your opponent in that way, you know?
Right.
It's not about like when you run, it's about you to be faster than the other guy. You know, it's about more about you. It is some strategy, some technique, some stuff you can do to beat the other guy.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's pretty much if you're fast, you're fast. In Jiu-Jitsu is a little bit different. You have to do stuff to beat that guy.
Yeah.
And then it was a very awful fight. And I think I just want to win a little bit more than him. I was just a little bit less embarrassing than him to be on that situation, and I ended winning the fight. But it is a experience I don't want to repeat.
Right. And you just won Pan Am's, for the 9th time?
I don't know.
This last time around? Yeah, I think. Where did I see
Hard to
that?
count, right?
Globe
All those,
Grappling?
all those accolades on your website. It's like you have some time to read them all. Yeah, I mean, I read through some of your bio, and it like reads like it sounds like a mob movie. Like it sounds like back in Al Capone days, you had the 5 families. That's like your like life story in jiu-jitsu. You have all these like branches. Then people just branched off and they created their own like Atos and created their own like, you know, you were with Brasa and you created that, and then it just seems so interesting to me, that whole from like the 90s to the 2000s to now where you're at, how that all spiderwebs out. I mean, not getting into too much detail, but like living through that, like those eras, you know, coming up and seeing from then to now how the teams are all like out there. I mean, do you see it stemming and still expanding? And is that a good thing that these teams branch off and create their own, or do you like it to be more sticking more traditional stuff?
So I started training jiu-jitsu when I was 12 years old. On my street, on my block, the building next to mine was where Léo Vieira lived with his 2 brothers. And across the street today is where Mauricio Gomes lives, is Roger's father, who was undefeated until 45 years of age.
Right.
You know, Maurição is a tough guy, the best student of Hollis Grace. So on that same side of the street was also a kid called Emerson Carlos, is a black belt national champion. Roller Gracie used to live on that street too. Another friend of mine called Pablo Fragata, another black belt national champion. Ralph Grace used to live on the same block. Marcelo Cazuza used to live there too. So I was surrounded by people who either were or became jiu-jitsu champions.
Yeah.
And it was normal, okay? I was always seeing people walking with gis and stuff. And because I knew Leo my whole entire life, Léo Vieira, I went to take a trial when I was a kid, And I trained for a couple months, but I didn't like very much. I remember 2 things. Is one time I was training with him, and he gave me a tomonagi, and I land on my neck. And I was really, really, discouraged by that. And then there was this other guy called Cabuloso. He was like a fat kid who used to training with me, and then he used to mount me, and I could not breathe, and I could not escape. So I didn't have too much fun when I was 12. And by the time I was 15, and then I quit after 3 months. My brother actually training a little bit longer and won a competition when he was a kid. Then he became a bodyboarder. He was a national champion in bodyboarding. And I I did taekwondo, I did kickboxing, and by that time I was doing kickboxing, and all my friends are doing jiu-jitsu. I'm the guy who are kicking people, and I was, always try to talk shit about jiu-jitsu, like say, yeah, but if I kick you, if this guy punch Hickson, if that guy kick Hoyes, we would win.
Right.
And my cousin was training at the Jacaré Academy, and then invited me to go with him. He needed a training partner. He wanted me to be his training partner. I said, okay, I will go there, but I will keep doing kickboxing. 1 month later, I quit the kickboxing, and then I started doing only jiu-jitsu. At that time, if the academies are almost a cult, like you just deal with that group of people, the practitioners for your academy. Right. It is not a easy. You have friends or colleagues on other academies who you made on the tournaments, but was, like almost I would not say a hate, but a huge rivalry between schools. Like we had with Gracie Barra, Carson, Nova União, and like I said, my best friends ending going to a Carson Gracie school, Right. So and then was a funny situation, and the time passed and the things changed. At that time was nobody trains outside this. Like with my friends, I remember we training together few times at judo. We had a judo school. We had a group of friends who were really good in judo, and they trained in jiu-jitsu eventually, and we trained in judo eventually. So a couple times I had be on the mat with my friends from Bolão in the judo school, and then going a little bit standing. We avoid to go with each other on the floor.
Right.
And I remember one time we were in Búzios, and we play a little bit on the floor, like on the grass, and then it was a big teasing game,
right.
like one guy tried to sweep the other, and it was almost like a
Blake was
originally. So Blake, how
and then this other time is my uncle's house. We are there on top of the mattress. We put them as a bunch of people over there. We put the mattress on the floor to be able to sleep everybody. But I never had gone to the school. I never went inside Bolão Academy to training with them. They never came to my school until, very recently.
Yeah.
And like was the disgrace if you leave one academy to go to another. And then like things change a lot. The people who I've been dealing I started to compete. I started training for Rio in 93, and I started competing in 94. So it's people who I seen all the time in tournaments for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So we develop a relationship. And then now I have a very good relationship with my opponents. We help each other when I have questions. Like I was with Pedipano. We fought recently in Abu Dhabi, like last year, or was last year? The year before, or whatever. I fight with Pedipano. Like, when I got the contract, first thing I did is call to him. I said, hey, Pede Pano, I have this and that on the contract. Did you agree with those terms and stuff? And
Yeah.
we have a good relationship.
That's cool. Yeah.
You know, like when I get on the plane, he was there already on the plane. You know,
Right.
like I sit next to him, and was the day they impeached the president in Brazil.
Okay.
So he put some Wi-Fi on his phone, and then we watching the impeachment
Oh, wow.
going on the plane. You know, like cheering for
Yeah.
her to go down, and we fought and we were good. And I said, man, we have such a good relationship. When we get there, was Vitor Ribeiro, Shaolin, and Robinho, and Daniel Moraes and Soca. It was such a great time. And then I was watching Satoshi and Gabriel they did the final in one of the division,
Right.
you know? And I was sitting there, and they come out on the backstages, and then they start to showing to each other what they did against each other. You know, say,
Right.
I pass your guard like that. You know, I always do this position. And
Yeah.
and one showed the technique to the other. Said, yeah, but they counter like that. I said, these guys are fucking crazy. Like,
Right.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
You're gonna explain to your opponent what you just tried to do with
Yeah.
him and how you stop him. But
Yeah.
that's the way things are.
Yeah. Gabriel's such a nice guy. He did a seminar over at Minecos
Yeah.
right before the Chicago Open last time. So we got to meet him and learn from him. He's great.
No, not Gabriel Marangoni. It's
Oh,
Gabriel Arges.
Oh, okay. Okay. Different guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Gabriel is awesome, too.
Yeah.
Marangoni is, man, such a nice guy. He fights so hard, you
Yeah.
know, and I respect him a lot. He always refereeing and competing on the
And
highest
competing.
level.
I know.
That's really tough to do. And the schools, what happened is, in the beginning, you have a very clear person, a very clear leadership.
Uh-huh.
Okay, on the Alliance, in theory was Jacaré, on Gracie Barra was Carlinho Gracie, on Carson was Carson, on Nova União was Dedé and Del. And what started to happen is some of the young people start to disagree with this leadership and creating new schools. That's actually not our problem. We never want to get out of Alliance. We're just being put in a situation that we could not stay there.
Yeah.
Now, the situation, was this something with the IBJJF and the tournaments? Is there something with that? What happened with that?
Yeah, what
exactly?
happened is
Because there was something like CBJJO.
CBJJO.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Was CBJJO was association. Okay, they try to compete with IBJJF.
Okay.
And the person in charge is a guy called Luiz Hermínio, Luizinho. He's something else, not a very good person. But on the beginning, he has André Pederneiras support because he's from Nova União. He used to put money on Nova União. And André Pederneiras, who is a great person and a very respectable person, stand with him on the beginning. You know, they are trying to improve the sport and stuff. Turns out that people learn that's not that easy to do what IBJJF does. And they have this tournament where they give money at the time, and then we decide to compete. We talk with the guys from Alliance. We have the team ready for. We talk with the guys from Alliance. They said we have a voting. Was a draw on the voting. Fabio tried to be smart and somehow win the vote.
Right.
And then we argue with them again. Said, look, we want to fight. And then Fabio told us, if you guys make Luizinho change the date of the tournament, you guys can go. Because it was on the same day than the national. It was a national for teams. Okay. For IBJJF and for CBJJO on the same weekend.
Okay.
So what Luizinho did, he put us, the black belts, to fight Saturday, and in IBJJF was Sunday. So he changed the date. Okay, supposed to be both. We're supposed to fight Sunday, so we would not go to IBJJF. So then we said, okay, he changed the date. What we didn't know is that Fabio had a deal with Carlinhos that we will not compete. If Fabio had been upfront with us and said, guys, I had a deal with Carlinhos, it's better let this tournament pass. If he'd been honest with us, I'm pretty sure we would let that pass. But he tried to overrule us, and at that point I was having the same power than him inside the team because I was voting for Jacaré, actually, because I was representing Jacaré in Brazil. And then he said, you said if they change the date we could fight, we're going to fight. So we fight. Jacaré was with us. All the founders of Alliance was with us, besides Fabio, and Fabio kept trying to create problems and complaining and said he's going to punish the guys. And then he said Tererê, Teles, and Damian could not train on his academy between that period, that tournament and the Worlds. I said, okay, no problem. You don't want them on your school, that's your school, you do whatever you want. And I was talking with him, he said, you don't going to let them train on your school? I said, no, I obviously going to let them train on my school because I was with them, like I can't make any sense to compete with my friends and then let them hanging on the outside. They're going to train at my school. Right. And to make a long story short, he kept trying to push us to be penalized by the team. And Jacaré doesn't like too much conflict, so what he says, okay, you guys going to pay me a fee. So we give Jacaré a check, and he throw the check away, He just take the check to make Fabio happy, but Fabio still causing trouble, and we eventually decide to leave Alliance and form our own team. But that's not what we want to do. We want to stay on Alliance. We've just been put in a situation where be part of Alliance was becoming impossible because Fabio started to put a lot of stuff to diverge our way, like didn't take Damian's name away from the Absolute and a bunch of stuff. So Fabio and Alexandre Paiva, Alexandre Paiva, Gigi, that snake, they start to cause problems. And then you said, you know what, let's going to do our stuff. The problem with that, we are not prepared for. We didn't want to do that. We didn't have a clear leadership. Is everybody on the same level? And this caused us to eventually break into Brasa, Checkmate, Zenit, and Atos. Those four came from what the people who left Alliance. Right.
Wow.
When we left, and at the time TT. Because Tererê came and had his own team as well. So we ending fragmented because we have too much people with different ideas, but without a clear leader.
Right.
We tried to elect a leader, but it didn't work.
It seems like it worked out. I mean, you created these great teams because of that. Or do you think that can that be construed as like a positive, right?
It is positive that these teams did so well. Now I was super proud of André to become a world champion as a team.
Yeah.
This year, we as Brasa become world champion as a team a while back, But I wish we had managed to keep our friends together.
Yeah.
Because it's all good people. The Drasdale, André, Leo, Tererê. Everybody from the master, the Brasa. I think we are all good friends, and I think we could have done in a different way and stick together, and we would be much stronger. But that's not what happened, So I'm happy every time I see one of them succeed. They all been very important on my career and and forge me as a fighter. Mm-hmm. So I'm proud, I'm really proud of the work André and Ramon are doing with Fatos and Checkmate, all those guys.
Yeah. And so you along with who else was the founder of Brasa?
Traven, Damian, Léo Vieira, Jamelão, Felipe Costa, Caio Terra was just a kid at that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Leo's brothers, Chico Mendes, Teles, obviously, Tererê. So it was a big group of people, you know, and then we adding. Andrea was a purple belt, and then he came to training with Tererê a little bit after that. At Drysdale, I saw the day the picture. We had the picture and we have a meeting across the street from my house. You know, we came from a tournament.
Yeah.
And we went to eat, and then they closed the restaurant. So we were walking towards the beach, and it's like maybe 20 of us. And then we said, guys, what we gonna do next? You know, we're gonna find our own way, or we're gonna stick with those guys who are not really giving us support.
Right.
You know, and then we decided to find our own way.
Yeah.
So with that many people, how'd you come up with the name?
The name was Felipe Costa idea.
Okay.
So we took a while. First, we tried to use the name Brasa. The name Master, because that's the original academy we came from, Jacaré Academy. Like I said, in the beginning, Jacaré was giving us support.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happened, like people like Alexandre Paiva, Gigi, started telling, Master and Alliance are the same thing. Don't worry about it and stuff like that. And then we realized, you know, like when two people from Alliance had trouble, they just send tell someone to use a Master and the other person to use Alliance. We realized will not work well because we didn't have the Master name. Master belongs to Jacaré. We could not take the name away from him.
Right.
And then we started looking for a name and logo and stuff like that. And then Felipe Costa had done a trip on the north of Brazil, and then he learned the name to the country is Brazil because of a tree called Pau Brasil, what have the brasa color, what's red.
Okay.
You know, and brasa means like charcoal, not charcoal. When it was a flame.
Amber.
Yeah, when you burn charcoal, what you have? You know that flame when the charcoal is on fire.
Yeah, like
An ember.
ember. Is that what it'd be?
I don't know.
Whatever. So my English is not that good either. 10 years and the English still suck. But then Felipe thought that's a nice name, and a lot of Brazilians who live here in the United States normally refer to Brazil as Brasa. I go back to Brasa this year and stuff. And I said, I think that is a name what can be said in Portuguese and English.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Simple enough, and he picked the name. I actually picked the logo. I based the logo on the ATP logo, what's a tennis ball on fire.
Okay.
And with the colors blue and white, because they are the secondary colors of the Brazilian flag, you know.
Right.
Okay.
And then we asked for a third person Julinho is one of our training partners at Brasa, one of Leo Castelo Branco's student who became a president of Brasa in some point. Okay. And he made the design.
So you have like a board for the the team?
Used to be a president and four other consuls.
And what were their position? What would they be doing?
That's the problem. That's what generated the problem. You had a split.
Yeah.
And then every time some of the people want to do something, the other people who vote didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then nothing happens, you know, because you want to do something, the other two people want to do one thing, two people don't, and then nothing happens. Or three people don't,
Right.
one people want to do something. And, you know, everyone felt that they're being overruled.
Right.
You know, so we are childish. You know, too many bosses, too little employees. You know,
Right, I gotcha.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. I never really like after reading about your story, and I never really thought about jiu-jitsu in that way of like, all these teams and all this like politics, if you wish. So much is involved in it, even from like the IBJJF, how big it is, and how much they they handle, just in the community alone, like just dealing with all these different teams and rule sets and all this. It's pretty big. It's huge, I mean, coming from Brazil, where it's like, my cousin was telling me earlier, he was like, jiu-jitsu in Brazil, he's like there's like just so much. He's like there's like McDonald's, like there's so many academies, so many places to train jiu-jitsu.
Is that right? Is that how it is?
Yeah, in Rio it is. If you walk in Copacabana,
exactly.
Nossa
what he
Senhora
said.
de Copacabana is one of the main streets in Copacabana. Every block is one academy.
Every block. That's what he said. He was like, it's like McDonald's.
It's no joke.
Everywhere.
It's true.
Yeah.
Every block is one academy, and around the whole country is a lot of academies.
Yeah.
One of the things is, this is good and then it is bad on the same time, because IBJJF doesn't have police power. Okay, they cannot go there and close your academy if you're not a real black belt.
Right.
They cannot go there and close your academy if you're doing something wrong. So some people just put a belt on the hips and start to teaching.
Yeah.
And then what happened is a lot of people never thought about being jiu-jitsu teacher. They are lawyers or designers, whatever, and they could not succeed doing what they are doing, and then they become jiu-jitsu teachers. Some of them are good teachers, some of them are not. I never had another job besides teaching Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
I went to the college and I did physical education because I knew I would be a teacher. When I started my college, I was a purple belt, and I was already teaching, but I wanna be better, and I knew the college will help me. I was not a very good student on the college because I was competing a lot, but definitely helps me a lot to change the way I see competition and how to prepare somebody to develop inside the martial arts. Right. Not only for compete, but to learn, the way I do my warm-up, or the way I make the guy rest, and, like all the science behind.
Yeah.
Most of it I learned on the college.
That's good. Physical education?
Yes.
You got a degree in it too?
Yes.
Very good. Yeah. And when did you come to the States?
When I come?
Yeah.
2007, 10 years ago.
Okay. So did you guys start your own school? When you guys split from Alliance, did you have a school back there?
I have a
location?
school. When Jacaré moved from Brazil,
yeah,
he gave his school to me. So I was running the school for him.
Okay.
And I was sending money for him. The things are not good in the beginning, and then in some point he said, just keep the school for you. I don't need that money anymore. It was not much money anyways, so keep the school to you. And I was partner with Léo Vieira's brother at the time, so I had my own school at that point.
Right.
And sometimes I miss some of my friends who stayed at Alliance. Like my teacher, Jacaré was my teacher, but he left the country when I was a purple belt. The person who stick with me for my whole entire life until today, I still in contact because I don't speak with Jacaré anymore. But the person who I really consider my coach, my teacher, the person who taught me more was Fernando Gurgel, is Fábio Gurgel's brother.
Okay.
So he still live in Rio, he's a close friend. So he was always there with me. My game is similar to his game, Mm-hmm. And he's the person who I consider my coach,
Yeah.
But who did you get your black belt under?
I get my black belt here in Atlanta. I came for a tournament, and Jacaré gave me they said they would because when Jacaré left, he passed the school for Magrão, for Fernando. But Magrão was teaching. He has a business, a different business, and he was running an academy and running his own business. But in some point, his business was taking much of his time, and I was already teaching at the academy since I was a purple belt. So when I was a brown belt, I came to compete in the Pan Ams, and they called me and said, "Look, Comprido, we're gonna give you your black belt and the academy."
Right.
I said, "Hey, you guys are going nuts." First of all, I don't deserve the black belt. I don't want the black belt now. I want to fight more. Second, I don't think I can run the academy. And they say, "Shut up. We are the coaches. We know what's better, and just do what we say."
Right.
And that's what was done. Obviously, they helped me, to run the academy. Magrão was always there with me, so he's still a student on the academy. He's still showing up on the academy, and every time I had a problem, a question, he helped me. And I don't have as much contact as I wish on these last 10 years. Every time I go to Brazil, I always see him and stuff, but we had very little time on the mats because he had new kids, he has kids who are already adults and some new babies. So
of course, yeah.
I make sure I always see him when I go to Brazil, but we ended up spending less time on the mats on the last years. Since I moved here, it became a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, of course. And why Chicago?
When I supposed to come to United States, in some point I realized living in Brazil will not be possible. No matter how good you are, Brazil doesn't really give you the tools to be successful. It is people who are successful there teaching martial arts, but that's so tough to do. And I seen a bunch of people who are living here in the United States and doing well and, being way more respected here than we are there, and be able to give a better life to the families, and it is just a more safe environment to raise your kids and stuff like that. So I decided to move. First, I supposed to go to Atlanta and open an academy. Didn't work really well. Then I approached Jacaré and said, "Let's open an academy together." That really didn't work well. And then I got 2 offers. One to go into Texas and one to go into Chicago. And actually, one of my friends from the camp, one of my students from the camp, knew this guy here in Chicago who were opening an academy.
Okay.
And he put this guy in touch with me.
Okay.
So the reason I'm here today is because somebody went to the camp.
Yeah.
We became friends, and he knew we talked a little bit, and he knew I was getting ready to move.
Wow.
Right.
And the things working good here in Chicago. And then it was funny because then I talking with the person who opened the academy, one of my old partners. The first day I came to Chicago was a snowstorm, and then it was a very bad week. It was super cold. Every day was colder than the other.
Right.
And when I arrived, it was the first time I saw snow. I've been in the United States a lot before that, but never on snow, on real snow. A little bit in snow in Atlanta, what's nothing.
Nothing,
Right.
yeah.
And then I was walking on the snow. It was so cool, the wind and the snow on my face.
Right.
And then he said he was walking. I said, "Oh my God, I'm sure this guy don't gonna want to stay with me. Why the weather is so bad?" And I said, "Oh man, that's so nice."
Yeah.
So now you like the snow?
I like the snow.
It's not bad.
Look, I've been raised in Rio. It's
Right.
summertime every year,
Of course.
the whole year.
Right.
I prefer the warm weather, but things we cannot change, we should not even complain. I embrace it.
Sure.
I was pissed last year because I decided last year to start to doing snowboard.
Yes.
Paul
Paul and I are both snowboarders.
Yeah, I saw some boards over
Yeah.
there. So I hold back for a while because of my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
I had a shoulder problem. I had to do a surgery, and then I bought a board, a bullshit board, and I keep waiting for it snowing.
Right.
And no snow since
No
December.
snow. I know.
I was so upset,
know.
And then I tell him, now we have another guy from Brazil, another friend of mine. This one I met when was already. He was one of my teammates, Marcos Escobar. He's teaching with me now on my school. He was a EDCC champion and national champion, so really tough guy. And then he said, I hope it's not too much snow, because he came on the winter this year.
Yeah.
I said, dude, winter without snow sucks.
Sucks.
Because it's cold anyways, you cannot go outside.
Yeah.
It's better have snow, then at least you can play,
Do
you
stuff.
can roll on the snow, you can
Exactly.
snowboard, you can
So-
having fun
so-
with your kids.
Do you like ever do big mountain snowboarding? Are you there
No,
yet?
no, I'm terrible, dude.
Oh, you're terrible.
I'm terrible. I went snowboard once.
Okay.
Was not I'm not good at all. And I want to do, and then I promised myself I would do wakeboard on
Sure.
the summer,
Yeah. Okay.
and snowboard on the winter. But
Yeah.
this summer was really busy. I spent almost 3 weeks in Europe and just came back, and then I was with this new academy and some stuff I have to do for my own academy. I didn't have time to go to the wakeboard place, you know.
Yeah.
But snowboard, if you guys want to teach me a class, I would be glad.
No problem.
Because I'm really bad.
we can for sure show you some pointers. I mean, we go do some big mountains, but out here, I usually, if I want to do a quick trip, I'll go up to. It's like an hour and a half away. It's a small mountain, and it just got bought by Vail. Wilmette.
Yeah, I went there.
Wilmette,
That's the day
yeah.
I went there. It was really nice.
Yeah, it's just a small, but you can learn a lot on that. Even though it's like literally 30 seconds to get down it, but you can still learn your footing and stuff like that. But sure,
Dude,
We'll
trust
go.
me, that's
We'll
what
go.
I have to do.
Yeah.
I cannot go from the top of the Wilmount. I cannot come from the top
No,
down. I have to
you
stay
don't
on the slope,
yeah,
you know.
you can start on the bunny hill, but I can show you some point. You show me a little jiu-jitsu, I'll show you a little snowboarding. That'll be a good.
That's a good deal, right?
That's a deal.
Those mountains are hard to learn on, the small local mountains around here, because so many they're getting so much traffic that it really compacts the snow.
It does.
So when you fall, it hurts. I mean,
Yeah.
some of those runs.
But I think
are
Comprido knows how to fall.
I know he knows how to fall, but if you
Man, it's different.
It's
That
different.
thing stuck on the floor.
I mean, 'cause-
Walk with that, you know, like just to walk with the
I know.
snowboard. My legs are hurting so bad after. Well, it was funny because like the first half an hour was really bad.
Right.
After that, I have like 2 good hours, a good hour and a half where
Yeah.
I not feel so much pain. But then after I
Yeah.
take the board away, man, even to drive was hurting, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not used to that position,
That position,
not moving
exactly.
my foot up and down,
Yeah.
you know. And then like I was bodyboarding when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I never really surf in a surfboard to standing, but I skateboard a little bit. But I try to do
Right.
to move the snowboard the same way you move a skateboard or a
Right.
board, you know, or a surfboard, and that's not the way
No.
to do.
Right.
But that's my reflex. I try like that, and then I
And
fall.
then you fall.
and
Yeah,
I
exactly.
go
Yeah, just
again.
really be certain. The edges matter in snowboarding, so you can't. You always have to be on an edge. You never want to be flat, because then you catch an edge. So a lot of people are like, "Well, just always stay on an edge," but they don't realize that it's either back legs or front legs. So you're always pivoting between those two.
Heels and toes.
Heels and
right?
toes. Yeah. Heels
What
and toes.
I in theory I understood, but I could not really do it. You know. So.
Then you're either one. So I favor one more than the other. So I get more of a workout. Like Paul, his shins start to hurt. My thighs start to hurt. So it all kind of depends on which one you
which
favor.
side you ride to.
Exactly.
But and I don't want anyone to get discouraged either. Like if you're just getting into snowboarding, I know. I always hear some people like, "Oh, I'm not ready to go out west yet, Colorado and Utah." You are ready. I mean,
Oh,
there's
100%.
there's easy stuff to ride out there, just as there's easy stuff to ride here.
Actually,
In fact,
it's probably easier.
It's easier
Yeah.
and it's a softer landing
It's
if
a
you do fall.
softer, yeah.
So don't not take a trip out west because you haven't been boarding long enough.
So
to
when we
say.
go to Utah, we'll invite you. Come
Yeah.
with us.
Dude, my
We'll show you
problem
a
with
great
traveling
time.
to do stuff, what's
Yeah.
not jiu-jitsu, is that I travel so much for jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Then when I'm getting here, I just don't want to leave the house. You know.
Right.
The time we talk about doing this interview
Yeah.
was a week before I traveled to Europe. And that's the last weekend. It was 1 week before the Worlds, and that's the last weekend I will have with my kid.
Yeah.
You know, because when I went to the Worlds, he went to Brazil, so I didn't see him
Okay.
since.
Wow.
I'm gonna see him when I get in Brazil this week, and it's just so hard to leave home. That's the reason I never had a hobby. Because jiu-jitsu I start as a hobby and become my profession, and is a profession what takes me away from home a lot on the weekends. What's normally when you practice your hobbies.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I never had one. And like last year, I said, no, I'm going to get a hobby. I'm going to start to doing snowboard or whatever.
Right.
And I hope this winter we had a lot of snow and I'd be able to practice and eventually be able to go to Utah or Colorado, whatever is good, and start to play with that. And then the other funny thing is my orthopedist in Brazil, he does ski, right? And like he kind of does well, like go really fast and stuff. And then when I get there to do my surgery, and I told him, I said, man, I really want to start to doing snowboard. I said, no, don't do snowboard. You're going to get hurt. You have to do skis, much safer, snowboard, blah, blah, blah. He just had a surgery on his shoulder.
Oh, really? From
for an accident with ski,
My brother-in-law, we were all snowboarding up in Boyne Highlands in Michigan. And so me and my two brother-in-laws were on snowboards, and my other brother-in-law was on skis. So we're going like snowboarding, right? So we're going through like the, tree area, and he would try to follow us in his skis. And, he was doing well, and then he just decided to go through trees. He went through this tree line and just hit hard and popped his shoulder right out. That's it. He can't do anything anymore with this shoulder. He's like, he had to have like surgery. It's crazy, but yeah, that can happen with the skis. Skis are not safer. I don't believe skis are safer. What about you, Paul? Do you think they're safer? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think it gives you the illusion that they're safer just because you have to split your legs up.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that skis are safer than the snowboard.
Yeah,
it all depends on the rider.
Yeah, same thing.
For me, they both did.
They're both dangerous.
There's both dangerous. Gi, no gi.
Right.
You can still get hurt. Comprido, what about a fight to win? Have they tried to contact you to compete on that?
They tried to contact me a couple times. Last time was just after my surgery, and I wasn't ready, and it was kind of close. It is a possibility. You know, I normally do the 2 Chicago Opens or the tournaments I have to me now. I compete because I like.
Yeah.
Okay, at this point of my life, I don't have and I don't want to prove nothing to nobody. I have fun when I compete, and I do on my own terms.
Yeah.
So I do the 2 Chicago Opens because I think it's important. My students see me competing.
Yes.
I do Pan Ams, I do Master Worlds, and I do No-Gi Worlds. Those are the 5 tournaments I go. I normally go every year unless something happens. And I would take a super fight with an opponent what makes sense. I had the opportunity to fight Saulo, to fight Roger, to fight Pé de Pano. So these people are fun to fight.
Yes.
Is a challenge.
Right.
And, like to fight somebody, to fight a tournament just for fight, or, somebody who, I don't know, a regular guy. I don't.
Right. You need a big name.
It's not so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see that match? His match in Medeiros against Salabero?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great match. 20 minutes is that's a long time to be out there.
Yes. I was second guess myself a little bit on that fight. I didn't know. I never had. I did fight 20 minutes before, but many years ago. I didn't know how my body would respond, and I finished the fight well. I was feeling well on backstage when the fight is over. I felt I could have had to push a little bit more, but anyways, it was a good fight. It's good to face a guy like Saulo. A person who make you pay for your mistakes. And
Now, what was your experience like with Medeiros? Like Halleck Gracie doesn't really have a great reputation in the community, like mistreating the fighters and not paying guys and stuff like that. Did you come away with anything like that?
think he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, since the beginning, the negotiations, my negotiations with him, in some point, I felt a little bit offended for something what he had wrote me, but luckily I didn't read that until long time after. You know, he sent me a text what I didn't read right away, and then after that he sent me another text what's way shorter than I read. And by the time I come back to the original text, we already had achieved a deal.
Okay.
If I had read the whole text first, I probably would not ever had a deal with him.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
You know, he doesn't know how to talk with people, how to, you know, put a show, and he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, you know, he had everything on his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a great sponsor
Right.
for the first two shows, you know, who put a lot of money, and I think he spent the money not
Yeah.
in the best way. The people who work around him were really good, you know, like the Echo Brothers, the guy who do the video for him, outstanding, you know. Stefan, the guy who takes the pictures, damn, that guy's good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when he said he's gonna send somebody to take pictures. I said, no, don't send nobody. I have a guy here who can take pictures. No big deal.
Yeah.
I said, no, my guy is good. I said, damn, it's a picture. How good can it be? And then the guy take pictures, and that guy is really good. It's
Yeah.
different, you know. But
I mean, it was Medeiros was amazing. I you know, I'm so sorry it didn't work out because I love to watch that show, the format.
I don't like one of the things I don't like is the format. You know, like I don't like the rule. First of all, they never define the rules really well. You know, they have one where they decide who's the winner based in combativity. Then they have some where it is submission only, but you have a draw if you don't submit. You know, and then like submission only works really good when you fight when it's a guy who's good against a guy who's average. When you have two very good people, it's hard to get a submission.
Very.
You know, you have to open up too much for the submission to come. It's not that a good guy cannot finish another good guy. It's just that it's not that often.
Right.
You know, and then you see fights like when Andrea fought Hiron. Hiron? Yeah. Andrea and Hiron, right?
Andre Gaval.
Yeah.
And Chael Sonnen.
No.
Before that.
No, when he fought Halleck's brother.
Okay.
And Andrea destroyed him.
Yeah. He did.
Was it
And it
Huron
was a
or was it,
draw.
was it Henner?
No, it was Huron.
Was it
It was
Huron?
Hiron,
Okay.
right? It was Hiron, right?
Yes.
So he destroyed him, and then it was a draw, and you clearly could see how Andrea was devastated to don't have submit the guy,
Right.
and how the other guy was super happy to don't have tap.
Right.
You know, I think the points are fine.
That's what's
you know?
nice about Fight to Win, though. At
The
least
judges.
you have the judges' decision. You know, so
What do you think about that? The judges,
Is-
the three black belt judges.
It's better, but then they have on Fight to Win they have some stuff they judge about submission attempts.
Yes. Right.
You know, and then my thing with if you just judge submission attempts, you can make a fight where I'm just going to be trying to submit it without really trying to submit.
Of course.
And you pretty much judge it. You are giving the advantage for a guy who failed to do something, even if that's the goal. You know, you're giving the advantage for the team who kicked to the goal,
Yeah.
not for the team who being very precise and make the goal, or who walk more with the ball. You know, so the point is walking with the ball, is getting close to the goal. You know, when you are standing and you put the guy down, you're in a better situation to submit to him. When you pass the guard, you're in a better situation than you were before to submit to him. When you mount, you're in a better situation before than you were. And when you mount somebody, there's no way then somebody let you mount him.
Right.
When you pass somebody's guard, there's no way then somebody let you pass the guard. You know, some people claim, oh, no, I don't care about points. It's BS. You know, you don't let nobody pass your guard.
No.
You know, Just because you did a bad submission attempt and the guy passed your guard, you don't let him. You try to submit to him. You try to defend your guard, and the guy pass. You know, that's my problem with the submission. If you do submission only, should to be all the way until somebody tap. But this is still not prove who is the more technical fighter, because then if you have a tough guy who had a very, very good condition, it's not as technical as you, but he has a very good condition, a better condition than you. He can survive you for whatever, 10, 20, 30 minutes, and then you start to gassing, and then because this guy is a ultra marathonist,
Right.
then he can submit you. So you cannot pick a style and say this style is better than everybody else. You know, like people who goes only for the submission on my head are committing a mistake. You know, like martial arts is based in war, in the art of war. Okay, if you just have one strategy, if you always try to win the whole war on that battle, you commit all your troops over there. You take too much risk, and they can exterminate you.
Yeah.
You know, that's why some people said, I just like these tournaments, because they just want to go for one fight. Because that strategy would work good for one fight, but not for a tournament. When you have to do 5 fights with everybody on the top of the game, you know, 5 fights on the World Championship. One thing is beat Boucher. Another thing is beat Boucher at World Championship. Right. When he's on top of his game, on the tournament, he doesn't want to lose for nothing. Not that he's fighting, if he's fighting Chicago Open, he would want to lose, but he would not be as well prepared as he's prepared for the Worlds.
Right.
You know? And in my opinion, you have to have strategy. I beat people who are way better than me, way more technical, way stronger, or way faster, or with a way better cardio, because I use the right strategy. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what you see. I like history, you know, like war history, Rome, Greece. You know, when you see the way Julius Caesar beat his opponents in campaign, you know, when he has a smaller force, and then how he forced them to commit and go for the kill. That's what I admire, you know, like you force people. You've been put in an impossible situation, you know, like it is a situation where Caesar is surrounded by 2 armies, and then he beat one army here, and then he beat the other army. You know, I think you have to be a little bit more wise than that, than just go for the kill. Yeah. Dude, I don't know nobody who in between submit and score advantage will go for the advantage. Just make no sense. Finish the fight there. It's over. I don't care what your rules are. If you submit the guy, the fight is over.
Right.
You know, so I like the system with points. And if you're a submission-only guy, if that's your goal, then go there and submit the guy.
Right.
Because if you don't submit the guy and the guy scored 10 more points than you, so you cannot complain about the result anyways. You know, even if you're fighting on Fight to Win or whatever other tournament, what called submission only. If you don't submit your opponent, you cannot complain of the result.
Because you didn't do what you want. That's what you do.
Yeah,
you're a submission-only guy.
Supposedly,
That makes sense.
You know, like I have all of us. I don't know nobody who's training jiu-jitsu who will pass a chance to submit someone.
Right, exactly. We're all trying to
hold
do
a half guard.
Right.
That don't make sense to me. You know,
yeah,
it is people who fight to win, to advantage. If I fight Boucher today and I have a chance to beat him by advantage, I would, of course. And I'm pretty sure you guys will do the same.
Yeah.
Of course.
Let's beat the Boucher, dude. You know?
Yeah.
Do you have to put him to sleep? No. Just beat him.
Right.
I don't care if it's a mistake of the referee. You know, like nobody gonna know.
Right.
You know, so and we will prepare for whatever set of rules people put in front of us, but that's not my favorite thing, you know. I like IBJJF. I've been fighting IBJJF rules. I understand those rules well.
Is there anything you would change about the rules, current IBJJF
Oh,
rules?
yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah, like what?
And they do. And IBJJF do. You know, normally after big tournaments, they have a meeting with some of the best-known instructors. and they ask stuff. I get calls from the people in charge of rules all the time, and they send me videos.
That's
and
great.
say, like, what do you think about those situations? And sometimes, dude, these impossible situations, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I had the last time I was talking with Judson, is the person in charge to do that. He sent me 3 videos. And then he asked, what do you think about the first one? And I give an answer to him. What do you think about the second one? I give an answer to him. What do you think about the third one? I give the answer. When I give the answer for the third, they said, but on the first one, you said the opposite what you are telling me now.
Right.
And for me, it seems very straightforward, the 3 videos. And then I have to go back and watch 5 times.
Wow.
And yes, I was telling something different for the third than I was telling for the first. And it was really hard to conciliate the 2 things.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, to come up with a rule, what makes sense for everything. Because jiu-jitsu is very complex.
Yeah.
You know, what I think is the problem in the rules is sometimes they try to analyze every single little option and start to make the things a little bit more simple. Because if it's simple, it's better for the fighters, the referees, the instructors, and for the public.
Right.
You know? And then sometimes they try to, I don't want to lose the essence, or this is made in 1920s by Helio Gracie because some blah, blah, blah. But doesn't make sense anymore. Like, one thing what I take advantage of, but I don't think makes sense nowadays, is vantage for half guard. Okay, it's part of my game, take the half guard. I always score advantage of a half guard.
Right.
I don't think that makes sense. Because on my eyes, vantage supposed to be when you almost score a point or you almost submit. That's when you should to score advantage.
Right.
That's my opinion,
Yeah.
you know. Or if you get half guard. I don't like those extra things.
Yeah.
You know. It was a time. Actually, this is in a meeting I had with IBJJF that I changed, and they want to change back because a lot of coaches don't like. But every time you score a point, you have to hold for 3 seconds, right? For every point.
Yeah.
Right.
Besides takedown. Takedown, you didn't need to score 3 seconds. You just drop the guy, and then the judge will give you 2 points. And then my argument with them was, look, if I have to hold 3 seconds for a sweep, why I don't have to hold 3 seconds for a takedown?
Okay.
And they agreed with me, and they change. And a lot of people didn't like that, and they want to change back. You know, I said, man, no exceptions. Let's make linear.
Right.
One thing, make the rules the rules easy
Right.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Across the
You
board.
know? And I'm telling you guys, I'm close to them, and it's a lot of work to try make things better. But every time you change one thing here that you see, you also change something you don't see.
You affect other things.
You know,
right?
so
Yeah.
that's why it takes a long time to do it. I think they could do more, but I also know they are trying to do, and they are improving. You know, I've been doing these. 1993 is the first tournament from IBJJF. 1994 was the first tournament. I fought that tournament. It's the nationals. The first national tournament is 1993, but was not made by IBJJF. It's actually made by André Pederneiras
Okay.
with another federation or by himself. I not even went to that tournament.
Yeah.
I was training, but I didn't. I was a white belt, just start training. 1994 is the first tournament of IBJJF. And it's, man, so much difference. We used to go there and weigh in the day before the tournament. And then we went there afterwards and eat like crazy. And like we get a bunch of people and try to mess up with the scale. You know, a bunch of stuff. What is impossible to do now.
Right.
You don't play with scale anymore.
Right.
You know, the way it's done, you cannot cut so much weight and go away. You know, it is a guy who went to weigh in 3 days before the day he's supposed to weigh in. You know, these things happen on the past. Now it's equal for everybody. You have to be there 15. You have to be there on your weight 15 minutes prior to your fight.
Yeah.
You know, unless few divisions, normally on the Husser weight, on the roads, then some people check the weight on the day before because some people fight on the day before. So
Right.
is a reason for. You know,
What do you think about the Caio Terra versus Bruno Malfacine?
it's a
match?
joke, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Was
He
was
didn't.
strange,
He
right?
didn't run. Dude, I'm suspicious to talk, but I'm a straightforward. I'm a straight shooter.
Yeah.
It's 5 times that Caio lost to Bruno, and he should have won. 5.
Yeah.
All those fights are super tight.
Yeah.
Caio was winning that fight, you know, and he was not running. It was a when Leandro fought Boucher, he ran outside and he get nothing. They took 2 points away for Caio for what?
Yeah.
He was facing the guy who was
Right.
he was fighting, you know, and then the judge said stop way before the fight was stopped, because if you go back there, you're gonna see Caio who is almost is tying his pants
Right.
as the guy was on his back, because the judge already had said stop, and then
Right.
he was tying his pants. So he never actually went outside the mat area. He was on the yellow all the time.
Yeah.
You know? So let the fight keep going. They are standing over there.
Yeah.
If that's a issue, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it was a joke. Some of the main referees, for whatever reason, some for personal... Some people like Bruno more than they like Caio, and that was told to Caio at Caio's face.
Wow.
Some people are afraid of Fabio and Alliance because they put too much people on tournament or whatever, you know, but they don't understand this. 5 times, you know. It is if you see the fight 3 years ago, I think, on the end of the fight, Caio arm drag Bruno. Caio was playing guard, arm drag Bruno, and jump on Bruno's back, and has a backpack with one hook. Bruno walk outside, and they stop and put the fight back on, or they run out of the time.
Right.
They're not giving Caio even a advantage, not even a warning to Bruno what will give the advantage to
Right.
Caio.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a situation where the referee raised Caio's arm and start to shaking the head and start to say, I apologize. And Caio later asked, why? And the guy said, I raised the wrong arm. The other 2 referees give to Bruno.
Uh-huh.
But this does make difference, because it is not on the same time. They raise the hands, and you know, when they do, like, you have time to look and see what's going on. And even if it was, you should to go there and say, okay, a second, let's do it again, and raise the right hand.
Yeah.
Because the split decision is different than unanimous decision.
Right.
Right.
You know, it's a lost if they agree the results. But it is crazy how many times that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, I thought it was a bad call.
Yeah.
5
Well,
to 5
and
times.
then you have to be consistent in the way you are judging,
Right.
and the way everybody was judging, not just ever, but especially on that tournament. I saw so many crazy things, so many crazy running. That wasn't that. That thing wasn't that. You know, and it's unfortunate because you know, that's cost to Caio.
Do you see it maybe, you know, as jiu-jitsu grows and, you know, becomes bigger and bigger, and now it's obviously televised on Flow Grappling, and that's becoming bigger. Do you see them maybe moving to, like, you know, replays and then having like someone judging that as opposed to
They
3
do.
people?
They have.
Do? Okay.
They have. They have 2 guys. So that's the way what black belt finals work. Okay, in the worlds, on the world championship, maybe in Pan Ams. I'm not sure about Pan Ams. I think it's just on the worlds at this point.
Okay.
So we have 3 referees.
Right.
The central, all those 3 are the same. Okay, they have the same power. The referee on the center normally is the one who he's the one who gives the points. If somebody disagree with what he did or not do, they stand up and they do. Okay, if it's a takedown, and the guy on the center didn't give 2 points, the guy on the corner will stand up and he give 2 points. If the other guy on the chair stand up and give 2 points, that means he agree with the guy who stand up, 2 against 1, they win, 2 points. Okay. If the guy stay on the chair, he disagree with the guy who give 2 points and agree with the guy who didn't give a point.
Okay.
So 2 against 1, no points. Okay?
Yes.
And they have a video, and they have two referees sitting on the table watching the video and doing a replay.
Wow.
Actually, on the Caio fight, what happened is one of those referees want to give the reverse the result, and the other one is the one who said, Caio is nice, but he likes better the other guy.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, because they stopped for a while and reviewed the tape.
And no, you keep fighting.
Yeah.
They fighting. These guys are just reviewing the tape. They
I saw at the end,
rewind
yeah,
so
they
many
would replay
times,
it,
you
right.
know, as many times as they want. And this one guy is saying, let's reverse the result. And then the other guy is not really agreeing, because these two guys have to agree for reverse the result. If these two guys agree, they will tell is the radio, the guy on the center will have to change,
Right.
no matter what.
matter what.
Even if the other two raise their hand, those two overrule everything.
I see.
Because they are seeing from the video, and that's how it is. And I think IBJJF don't do a good job explaining these things,
Right. Yeah.
you know, and most of people don't know, and then sometimes people thinking it's Carlinhos Gracie talking in the ear of the referee. That's not what happened. I saw complaints on this line a lot, you know. That's not what happened. And I saw a lot of complaining about Brazilians talk with Portuguese, with Brazilian referees, and they overrule. And then I know what they're talking, and they are not out of the line. They are just communicating Portuguese, because that's how I speak with my family. If my wife is here with me, I have a really hard time to speak with my wife in English or my kids in English.
Right.
I will speak with them in Portuguese. I know this is impolite, but
yeah.
it's awful.
It's natural
I feel
for you.
awful to speak with my wife in English. I push myself sometimes, but the natural for me is turn to her and speak with her in Portuguese, and then especially when I'm speaking something that has nothing to do with you guys. You know, if I want to say, okay, what time I have to drop the kid on the school tomorrow?
Right.
That has nothing to do with our conversation.
Right.
You know, I will probably speak in Portuguese. I know that's rude, but that's the way I am.
Yeah.
And it's so many American referees. It's so many Brazilian kids who lost fights as well with bad refereeing.
Sure.
Yes. There's so many of my students who lost fights for bad refereeing. You know, like that's just not there.
Yeah.
You know, is some people who judge based in friendship. Yes, it is. It's part of us as humans, and I think the judge who constant committing these kind of mistakes, if we can track that, they should to be warned and stuff like that. But that's not like a plot against American champions, you know.
Right.
That's nothing to do. I was there with Mike Masumesi on his corner. I was helping to coaching him, you know. Caio training him, but I was there on the camp and I helped the kid. And I was there coaching him and talking with the refs. And I do think, actually, with him and his sister was mistakes commit, but I think it was mistakes.
Yeah.
Honestly, mistakes commit against these people.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, he was the third American to ever win a
Ford,
world.
I think.
Fourth
Is first BJ, second Robert, third Lovato, Ford was him. As a black belt.
Wow.
Right. Okay.
The first. I don't think I'm not sure if he's American, but Egan Inoue is the first non-Brazilian to win a world title as a blue belt on the first world championship.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I don't think he's American. I don't know if he's Hawaiian.
Who?
Egan Inoue.
BJ Penn?
Egan Inoue.
Oh, Egan. No, I don't know what he is. And then Drysdale too, but they don't count him because his mom is Brazilian or something like that.
So what?
I don't know. He's not full American.
Same thing with Rafael.
Yeah.
Or I know Rafael's father speaks Portuguese. But anyways, he born in the United States.
Speaking of Lovato, did you guys see that Bellator fight last night?
No,
Did
he
you
fought
see
last night.
Yeah.
He did. Did he win?
He won 6 in a row.
Good. Yeah.
Rear naked choke.
Rear
I
naked
saw the
choke.
other one was great. You know.
Took the guy down and just dominated him.
Just
Damian
he looks
Maia
like,
style.
He looks just like Damian Maia out there. Just take down, take the back choke.
Lovato is great, and man, I'm really proud of him, and I'm super proud of Damian. Obviously, like Damian.
Team is fighting for the belt.
Yeah, they are doing everything they can to avoid him to have this.
I
belt.
know, right? That's what we've been saying all these months. We've been saying that.
I have a little bit more information than you guys on that. But
Okay.
everything.
So it is true. There is a conspiracy.
What do you got, Comprido? Tell us. We won't tell
Hey, how are
anyone.
you gonna get the guy to do a title fight with 1 month notice?
Yeah.
How are you're gonna offer a title fight to the person who just lost for the contender without asking the contender if you're gonna fight? That's ridiculous.
There's something fishy going on there, and it's been going on for a long time.
Damian has to finish this fight.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. Can be the toughest fight ever. They're never gonna give him a rematch. I don't know why. Damian is too nice, and then great that he's a nice person. I think UFC should wish more nice people.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like
Something to offset McGregor.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, McGregor. So McGregor is something else, but you have Stipe, who is also a super nice guy. Promote the niceness.
Right.
Why you want to promote the guy talking shit? I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna murder your mother. Blah blah blah.
Right.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like the guy earned his position there. When he fought Anderson Silva years ago, he replaced Vitor Belfort, and he was promised that he would have had a title shot. This out of the blue, Tyron Woodley stepping in front of everybody.
Right.
1 year without competing.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, we promised him a title. Come on, dude.
Right.
That's not fair. So I'm really put my money that Damian gonna finish this fight, win this title.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we had Wagner Mota on the podcast, and he was telling us about the training camp he puts him through, and he's super excited. And man, I just can't wait to watch it. We're gonna actually have a little event here at the studio when it comes on, but it's gonna be fun.
It was so unexpected that they're gonna be in Brazil on the time to the fight, and I don't gonna be able to because I really want to be there for this fight, but I can't. It's just during my camp.
Right.
Well, speaking of the UFC, when did you start training Brock Lesnar?
I think it was 2007.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I think it was 2007 when I came. I had one of my one friend, one student, a guy who comes for seminars and stuff, who referred my name. I got a call. I didn't know who he was.
He called you directly?
No, his manager called me and said, I want you to come and train with this guy Brock Lesnar. I said, I have no idea who's Brock Lesnar. I said, but what do you want me to do? You want me to teach or you want me to train? A little bit of both.
Okay.
So then I called a friend of my, Kid Peligro. I called Kid Peligro and said, I get a call to train this guy, Brock Lesnar. Who is this guy? And then he said, no, he's a giant from WWE. And then he explained to me who it was. I said, I don't think I want to go there. And Kid said, are you crazy, man? You cannot lose this opportunity. So I went there, start to training.
Up to his house in Minnesota?
To Minnesota, yeah.
Okay. Because he has a gym that he built in his backyard or something, right?
For this last camp, yes.
Okay.
Before, we used to have to rent a facility, and all the equipment was on that facility. You know, it was close to the house, but not inside the house. The last camp was inside the house. And we start to training, and he likes the way I do stuff. I had to endure a lot of pressure. I did learn a lot.
So you sparred with him a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Did he know any jiu-jitsu before you met him?
Dude, he's a collegiate national
he's a
champion.
wrestler.
But jiu-jitsu, but he didn't know any jiu-jitsu.
No, he knew because he was training under Greg Nelson.
Okay.
Greg is still part of the team. So Greg is a black belt.
Okay.
And but the thing is, Greg is a little guy, and then they were looking for somebody bigger who has a different input. And then on the beginning, I think the goal was, was to get a training partner. And I remember the first day I get there, I saw, so much big people, and I said, what the hell? And then I put a warm-up, and then I said, okay, I'm going to put a rotation, a guard rotation, and I'm going to keep going in and out, because I don't want to sit there with all those beasts, those guys are really big, and they are tough, It's not, they are just big. They are national champions over there, many of them.
Right.
So, and then I said, okay, that's not that bad, the guys come hard, but on this way I can deal with them.
Right.
The second day, Marty Morgan arrived, because the first day Marty wasn't there. Marty is the head coach, he's coach for University of Minnesota. The second day Marty arrived, and then I say, guys, let's gonna, and Marty said, warm up, we're gonna do this, and that, and then he kicked me back to the mix and put me just as a training partner, So then I went through the week. I was already close to the fight. It was when he hit the hearing, and then they called me for the next fight, and then the next fight was with Couture, and the following one when I went back to Couture, I was already having a spot as a coach.
Okay.
And then Marty said, you're gonna teach jiu-jitsu, what you want to show. Then I always agree with Marty what we have to work.
Right.
But Marty is the one who run the show.
Yeah. And now I saw when you promoted him to blue belt. He's still currently a blue belt, right?
Yes.
Brock? And you promoted him in the gi. Was he doing gi training?
Very little.
Okay.
So on that picture was Marty, Cole Conrad, who was a two-time national champion, and Brock.
Okay.
The thing is, we're training that was last year. So for 9 years, we've been training together. The guys have put the gi very little, and the goal was never become a jiu-jitsu practitioner. So we touched some aspects of jiu-jitsu to help him as an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
I don't train Brock to do De La Riva guard.
Right.
Right.
That's not what. That's not something what will be
useful.
Eventually, could be, but for him to get at this point of be able to play De La Riva guard, who can play De La Riva guard in MMA? Meow.
Yeah. Right.
You have to be a super good on that to be able to play this kind of guard or this kind of game. So we prioritize stuff what we think, situations we think he will be, and attacks and defenses we think will happen more, Most of the times we're preparing for a specific person, so I don't have too much time to deal with other parts of jiu-jitsu. So if Brock or Marty or Cole roll with a black belt, they will be able to hold them on? Yes, of course. Do they know what a black belt know in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? No, they don't.
Right.
That's why I give them the blue belt, and I honestly believe they have actually the purple belt level for knowledge, for what they know about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They are Division 1, all of them are national champions, so they know a lot about martial arts.
Right.
But about the specificity of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, about the gi they use very little the gi,
Right.
So then is a different, I don't use, the belt cannot be a bargain chip or something for promote yourself, Like I give that because I think, we had time actually. One day we had time, and then we want to do something different. So let's go to training with gi, and I want to do this for you guys. Brock was always teasing me when I'm going to give his black belt, and Marty, when are you going to give me my black belt? And I told Marty, I give you a black belt when you give me the license to teaching wrestling. And he said, done. You don't need a license to teach wrestling. But that's the thing. I don't like when people promote MMA fighters because they are tough. They can beat jiu-jitsu fighters in jiu-jitsu, black belts, but they don't know the same amount of jiu-jitsu that a black belt know. You know, so
Yeah.
that's not the way I judge when I give my belts. Not only for competition, not only for that, but how much you know.
Knowledge, yeah.
You know.
Were you on board when he fought Frank Mir the second time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad fight. That was brutal.
Yeah, that was good.
So so you rolled with Brock a lot then, right?
So, yes.
Yeah. What was that like? What did that feel like?
Well, but one thing I have to say is a lot of big people there.
Yeah.
The person who comes last hard on me there was him.
Oh, really?
Because he knows I'm there and he wanna use me to put him in trouble and, you know, to find his way around my technique. You know, I definitely cannot trade power with him.
Right.
But he doesn't come with me with sheer power, you know. That's not what he does. He uses power, of course. He's a big boy. There's no way that he's not gonna overpower me. And when he's in trouble, not trying to use some power, but he always try to improve his game, you know. So that's what we've been working on, and it was. I have to fight for my life many times.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
But you learned a lot as
but
well.
it was good, you know, because, dude, I could see when I come from Brazil, we believe it was a lot of jiu-jitsu against wrestlers, you know, like back in the day. And then we believe, those wrestlers, they don't know nothing. Wrestling is bullshit. They just know takedowns. They don't know nothing. And then they kind of think the same thing about us. This arm lock, I will pull my arm out. And on the end of the day, the concepts of wrestling and the concepts of jiu-jitsu are the same. The leverage you use in wrestling and you use in jiu-jitsu are the same. Wrestling is not pure power. There's a lot of technique involved. The guys are all strong because the way you are pushed to training wrestling is always pushing forward. It's a short fight. You know, stop all the time so you can keep up with the super high pace. On jiu-jitsu, you fight, when you get a black belt, it's 10 minutes. And you fight many fights one after the other, so you cannot push the pace as hard as you push on the wrestling. So the characteristics are a little bit different. And the fact to use the gi, the rules, you know, what you have to do, what you search for is a little bit different. But the concepts are the same. So I always pay attention when they are teaching each other, when Mari was teaching, and then I start to say, okay, that's how they do. And I use the motions, the wrestling motions, to teach them the jiu-jitsu technique. Okay, so let's say if I want to go to somebody's back, I said, okay, that's when you do a high crotch and you escape to the back. It's the same motion here on the half guard or whatever is the case, you know. So then I use a motion they understand well to explain what I need them to do in jiu-jitsu, you know. Because for me, it's important, my students, to understand the technique, not just repeat the technique, because you're going to forget. If you just repeat what I teach you, you're going to forget. If you understand, then you can make the technique better. You know, you can use the technique in a different situation. You know, but if you just learn a kimura on the close guard, when you are on the mount, it doesn't make much sense, even though it's the same position.
Same position, right?
You know, but if you understand why, you put in 90 degrees, and then you try to put the palm of the hand on the back of the head. I said, okay, now this guy is on my half guard. If I put his arm in 90 degrees and pushes into the back of his head, I can finish him. And then you can find your own technique and your own adjustments. And that's what I try to do with all my students.
Mm-hmm. It's nice.
So your classes also, I mean, I saw in what you also teach JKD.
I have JKD. Marcus Charles is a JKD teacher.
I trained with Marcus.
You trained with him?
In the 90s. So I started, crazy, right? So I started JKD in 1991 with Dion Ricardo, Marcus over in Berwyn. And we also started jiu-jitsu in 93, 94 I hated jiu-jitsu, and I didn't like it. I just wanted to stay standing because I was little. I just get smashed. Marcus, right? He's a big dude, and then Dion, all those guys back then. I was little, and I hated it. So I just didn't. I mean, I went through some of the motions, but I was never in it. You know what I mean? In it, like I am now. But yeah, I mean, JKD is, man, that's...
Yeah, he always have the guys coming for teaching seminar. Paulson is here twice a year.
Yeah.
They have Rick Fay, man, all his instructors coming and teaching seminars on my school all the time,
Yeah, he's a good guy, Marcus.
Tom Cruise, all these guys, they come and go through all this.
Crazy.
The Kali stuff, the stick fight and stuff.
You don't do any Kali?
No.
No.
He could do
I
it.
throw stuff and people...
So how'd you get mixed up with Mark? How'd you guys meet?
When I moved here, I came. I had 3 other partners, and we had an academy.
Okay.
And Marcus is an instructor on that academy. So when I decide to lose my partners, I met Marcus again, and he was teaching at in Gurgel, and then I mentioned with him I would open my own academy, and he stopped to teach on the place he was teaching, and then he came and started teaching at my academy. Like he's a nice dude.
Yeah.
He does his thing, I do my thing. So
That's awesome. That's so cool. Small world, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Man, happened one thing with me now in Europe, what never happened before. I was in a restaurant, and then this guy came and said, Comprido, huh? The waiter.
Yeah.
I said, yes. I said, do you train? And he said, no. And I said, this motherfucker don't understand what I ask him, I said, you don't train in jiu-jitsu? And he said, no. I said, how you know me? And he said, because I watch the videos. I said, which videos? I said, jiu-jitsu videos. I said, but you never trained in jiu-jitsu in your life? So you stopped the training, right? They said, no, I never training. I said, you never trained in jiu-jitsu in your life and you watch videos and you know who I am? I said, yeah, where's your green hair? I said, so why you don't training? I have friends here in Paris, you can go training with them. And he said, no, I don't have time. I just like to watch. So nice to see you. And stuff. I said, oh, okay.
That is weird. Wow.
It's great because
cool.
we finally, I for years said that jiu-jitsu doesn't have fans.
Right.
Yeah.
Have practitioners who watch.
Right.
When you go to jiu-jitsu tournament, you never see a person who doesn't train in jiu-jitsu or doesn't know the person who's competing, or who doesn't have a friend who trains. This guy is a guy who doesn't know nobody who trains in jiu-jitsu, and he was, and he knew me, and
That's cool.
What the hell?
Yeah.
But the green hair, what is the...
Without the green hair.
But what is with the
have
green hair? What is the green hair?
No, I used to have to color my hair blue.
Oh, okay.
Long time ago.
In Brazil?
In Brazil.
Okay.
To attract attention, then you will know that guy with the blue hair.
Yeah.
So that's easier to remember.
Sure.
Than, who's the guy who fought that in 1993? Is a little bit hard. So I said, if I color my hair, it will be a little bit easier for people to...
Smart marketing.
Yeah, there you go.
To figure that out. And then I stopped to do that because it's a little bit of pain in the ass to do it.
Okay.
You have to bleach and then paint and color your hair and wash, and then the paint come off on the first day. So I was at the Jiu-Jitsu Expo, and the owner of Storm, come to talk with me. And he said, Comprido, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I'm Dim. I'm the owner of Storm. How are you doing? I remember you with your blue hair. So nice, blah, blah, blah. Man, I wish you're still using that. Blah, blah, blah. I said, do you want to sponsor me? He said, yeah, sure, come here. Blah, blah, blah. So then we had a sponsorship deal, and then that thing stays on my head. I said, this guy remembers me. Obviously not just because of the hair, but he specifically mentioned my hair.
Right.
I said, I could start to doing that again. And then And then we had a deal where I supposed to do I did a video, a technique video. And I said, you know what? I think you're going to do this with the green hair. And I said, I love it, blah, blah, blah. And then I started doing again.
Yeah.
You ending that we never published the video, ending losing the footage. Actually, I have the footage, but we have the problem with the audio on the footage.
Right.
And now I'm a slave of that.
People expect it.
Because I cannot go without. And then, like, as you guys see me a few times, that my hair is not perfectly green. It's mixed because sometimes I don't find the right paint, and then I mix a couple paints, and then sometimes when I bleach, I don't bleach everything because I have no patience.
Right.
You know, and then my wife said, why you didn't wait for me to do it? I said, no, I just want to get done. And sometimes when I put the bleach, I leave spots on the back, you know.
Wow.
And
the trials and tribulations of painting your head.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of
Where
work.
do you even get a color like that? I mean, you got to go to like a Halloween store or something.
I go to, what's the name to the store?
It's like a hair salon store?
No, it's
Like a costume store?
Lily. No, it's a store where they sell stuff for hair.
Oh, okay.
Like a Cosmo store? Like Cosmo...
Sally's Beauty Supply.
Sally Beauty.
Oh, is it Sally? Okay. There you go.
On the last Brock's
Why do you know that, Paul?
I don't know.
On the last Brock's fight, I was there in Minnesota, you know, and the guys are like tough.
Yeah.
And then I asked the Mario, I said, hey, you're going to color my hair and stuff. I said, don't do that. That fucking thing is ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. And then they said, well, why you do that? Blah, blah, blah. I said, man, don't worry, I will do it. Then we went to it, and I said, stop there on the Sadie Beauty. And I said, why? And I said, I'm going to buy stuff for my hair. I said, why? You're not going to color my hair. Why?
Him walking into Sally Beauty with all these big wrestlers.
Man, this is a woman's store. Blah, blah, blah. And then I went to buy the stuff, and then he kept complaining all the time that
That's so funny.
Coloring my hair.
But that's
You know,
thing.
and I said, man, do you don't want me to use it? And he said, yeah, why are you going to use that? You're going to annoy Brock. And then I was talking with Brock, and I said, do you have any problem? I said, I don't give a shit off your hair, dude. Just do whatever you want. And Mario looked, why? You know, man, I think you're jealous just because you're bald, you know?
So that's the thing, you have to do it now. All the time.
You're the Dennis Rodman of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it's annoying, you know, like it's and burns a little bit because
Does
you
it?
you bleach.
Fuck.
And you have to do it, and I always a little bit late, and I have to do this on the day before I'm gonna compete, and I should have to do this 2 days prior, you know, to make sure that the paint stays on my hair. Sometimes it's a hassle, trust me.
Before we let you out of here, I want to get your prediction on Boucher versus Rodrigo Gracie, their match coming up. How do you think that one's going to go?
Good. They both have chance to win. Roger just smoked me on last year, you know, it beat the crap on me. But I believe Boucher is with more rhythmic, is younger, you know, is probably in a better physical condition. You can never rule out Roger, but, you know, if I really have to pick someone, I would pick Boucher.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it will be easy or nothing like that. They are two monsters, but I think the tide is more towards Boucher than to Roger. But I will not be surprised if Roger do something very simple and win the fight.
Yeah,
Wow.
that'd be. I mean, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
His game is so simple, but it's so hard to move, to do anything. And like I mentioned before, I normally study my opponents and a good strategy. I have good strategy. It is hard to deal with him because it's so basic what he does, but it is so much better than everybody else. The way he does, the way he put his weight, he looks so much stronger than he really is because he knows how to use his weight so well. So I think gonna be a very interesting fight. I suggest everybody to watch. Gonna be two very, very top contenders, two guys who are outstanding, two of the two best, the two guys with more medals in the World Championship, so
Yeah.
I think we cannot miss that.
Yeah.
Will you be at Master Worlds this year?
Yes.
Competing?
Competing.
Yeah, we'll see you there. We'll be both competing in it
Yes.
as well.
Then
Yeah.
let's make sure we all bring back gold medals.
That's right.
And your sponsor is Storm.
I'm sponsored by Storm.
So you're friends with Renato then?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I didn't understand Renato for a while.
No one does.
Until I really met him, and I want to do some shit with him when I met him. And then we went to dinner, and then I sit next to him, and then we start to talk, and then was the real person talking.
Oh yeah.
And then explain some of the
The
telling
character.
some of the stories
Sure.
for the real person, not the
character.
character.
Right.
And then he is a very, very nice guy.
Yes.
I like him a lot. We've been seeing each other a lot because of Storm. I have good time with him. He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of stuff we think on the same way, and
Okay, good.
he's a nice person to
Yeah.
have a chat. A nice
But
company.
originally, were you insulted as a Brazilian, this character that he created?
A little bit. I was, and the first time I heard, because I didn't watch him for a long time. I just heard, and this guy putting 27 stripes on his belt and said he won so many world titles, and I was insulted by that. But then when I watch him, then I realized that's awesome. That's like the guy who come to talk with me in Paris. Now we have somebody making fun of us. Using us as a character.
Right.
Promoting our sport, and that's what we want. I want 10 Renatos. I want
Right.
10 million of the guys from France.
Right.
That's what's going to make our sport to grow, because we have a big community. It's not a united community, but it's a very big community of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then and people like Renato will make the community grow.
Yeah.
And then you have, I was even upset with people who were friendly with Renato, Brazilian people who were friendly with Renato. And I know a bunch of Brazilians who thought Renato was Brazilian.
Oh, really?
And start to talk with him in Portuguese, and he doesn't lose his cool. He will somehow talk with you in Portuguese. He has his strategy, and he does his stuff, and then you don't really realize. That's why people get more pissed with him because he don't go out of his character.
Right.
He been put in some situations, but I will come out of the character right away. He keeping doing that thing, almost like a Borat situation.
Right, exactly.
Where he keep pushing and it's like, dude, this not gonna end well, but he's the superhero,
right?
Super good fighter. Who the only problem is ex-wives and kids,
I know. It's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a seminar. You were at the seminar?
I was there.
Yeah. We did a seminar with him at 10 Planet Lombard, and it was good. I mean, he actually taught.
And that's what we were been talking. And I said,
Right.
you do seminar? And I said, no, I train in Jiu-Jitsu too.
Yeah.
He's a black belt.
He's a black
some
belt, right?
people go to my seminar expecting me to be funny
Right.
and to do jokes, and that's all they expecting me to do. Some people don't know I'm what I am.
Right.
I'm an actor, and Renato Laranja is a character.
Right.
And they expect to learn for a 27-time world champion. and I try to do both.
Right.
Right.
I try to teach because you're a black belt, so you know some stuff. So
Right.
I make sure I teach stuff, and I make sure I'm funny.
Exactly.
So that they sometimes look a little bit confused
Right.
when I go teach a technique. The guy said, "Why he's teaching technique?
Right.
He should not do that. He
Right.
should keep doing jokes."
Right.
And other people get surprised, and this super good jiu-jitsu guy is
Right.
just doing jokes, and
Yeah.
being politically incorrect,
Right.
and, like
Exactly.
It's good. It's good for the sport.
It is good. for the
it's
sport.
awesome,
Yeah,
but took me a little bit of time to swallow and then to really watch him doing his thing.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time I watched him, he was doing a joke about me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was something with Joe Rogan,
Okay.
some stuff about pot and stuff. And
All right.
His kind of talk about me, and then the first time I saw it, was like, what the fuck this guy is doing? Who's this guy? Like, who knows this guy from Brazil? Like, where he's training?
Right.
Where's he training?
That's funny.
Oh, that's great.
But then I said, man, motherfucker is funny. The same thing with Chael. Sonic.
Yeah.
Like, I used to hate Chael. And I remember one time here in Chicago, I was in the locker. We were doing some stuff, and he was in the locker, and he come to talk with me, and then, like a normal person, like
right.
And then I said, fuck. Now I get him, like he's doing this as a joke.
It's a salesman.
Right.
And like, I disagree that this is style, but he showed himself as a nice person. Actually, on the Medeiros, when I fought Saulo, he fought André. And André had Renato on his corner as a joke. And Renato was there doing,
I did not know that.
go, kill.
I did not
I
remember
forgot
that.
about that.
And Chill was on my corner, on my locker room.
Okay.
But everybody on that locker room doing jiu-jitsu, and everybody's friends of André. Everybody knows André for a long time. And he was so nice on the corner. Everybody after they fight and then winning or losing, he went there and talked with all the winners, all the losers, and compliment them. He come talk with me after my fight. Man, I'm very nice, blah, blah, blah. And when he lost, he was sad. He tried to win that fight, and I guess in between Renato, what he think was against him as a friend, and us not giving him any support when he get there. I was feeling bad, and I in some point I want to go and talk with him and be nice with him because, but he kind of then was upset and walk out.
Yeah.
But he's a nice guy when he's not dressing as that jackass.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is some stuff. It is funny. I remember him saying that Nogueira tried to give a carrot for the bus. Like I said, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's got-
where did this guy come up with this shit? Like,
He comes up with some crazy stuff.
He's the best who's done it in MMA, in my opinion. Like, he's the funniest out of all of them. But,
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I know that every time your name comes up, and just meeting you today, but it's always like brought up with Eddie Bravo, and like that you hate Eddie Bravo and you hate the whole culture and all that fun stuff. I mean, is that something that people bring up to you a lot as well? Is that something that bothers you, or with all the Hanat, because he's a black belt on Eddie Bravo, and obviously you get along with him great, the whole thing, and that's just the way it is, but like, how do you see, like, all that stuff with 10th Planet and EBI and all that other fun stuff?
my thing with Eddie Bravo is is two things I don't like from Eddie Bravo. I think Eddie Bravo is he's very competent promoting himself. He's a funny guy. He has many accomplishments. He's a multitask person. He's a writer. He does a bunch of stuff. I'm not even doing writing for jiu-jitsu. He writes for shows and work with UFC.
Music
and
right.
He's accomplished guy, smart guy. What says is a bunch of dumb shit. Is conspiracy theories.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
And shit like
Agreed.
that. But I have a really, really big problem with drugs. I'm opposed drugs 100%. I don't care if pot become legal or still illegal. I will never use. I will never allow my kids to use as long as I have the power to stop them. I will never instigate nobody around me to use, and I always will do everything on my power to not let anybody to use any kind of drug. And I think the way he puts is like if marijuana is, if you want to use is one thing, you know, like I want to use, I have fun and stuff is one thing. Another thing is say this is good for your jiu-jitsu. You know, likely him or not, a lot of people listen to what he says. Kids listen to what he says, you know. And I think he should be more responsible, you know. And
I mean, obviously he's a very big public figure. And I think Joe Rogan, you know, on one of his podcasts, Joe Rogan, they were talking about conspiracy theories, and Eddie was talking about flat Earth or something like that. And Joe's like, Eddie, tens of millions of people are listening to you right now, and you're just, why are you saying this? Like, just stop already. It got a little awkward to listen to it, but it's just, I think Eddie likes a troll. I think he's a very good troller, and and it seems like he's real. And then you're like, is he being serious? He's not being serious. But he's an interesting person. And he was just out here for a seminar the other day. He went down a little bit in, you know, a little bit conspiracy theories in the seminar, but it was still, you know, I almost have to attribute it to like a character, almost like Hanato, you know, it's like, this is his persona, you know, and
I honestly, I don't know him. Been face to face with him very few times.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't go too much to jiu-jitsu tournaments. I was on the Léo Vieira corner when Léo Vieira fight him. I think it was great for him that he beat Royler.
Mm-hmm. The first and second time, or
he beat Royler one time. The second time was a draw.
Draw.
It was Matamoros. That's the rules.
Right. But what do you think about that second match?
I think he was better than Royler on the second match, but you have the rules what is
Right.
just for submission. That's what sucks.
Right.
Because when you're fighting, if you're fighting for win,
Right.
then you don't care about some stuff. You know, when Saulo passed my guard, not that Saulo could not pass my guard. He passed my guard and mount me because I went for a bicep crunch, what I will never go on Saulo, but it was 3 minutes to the end of the fight.
Right.
I would go for a submission there.
Yeah.
What I never do in another situation.
Right.
I'm not giving excuses for Royler. I think Eddie was better on the second fight than Royler. I think Royler should never had that fight. Makes no sense for Royler at all. He has nothing to win because beat Eddie will not give him anything. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not that much money. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's a decent amount of money, but not a life-changing amount of money.
Yeah.
And if he had tapped to Eddie, he would be listened until this day. And then it's people who are still thinking Eddie beat him. Mm-hmm. You know, and it doesn't, because the rules of the tournament doesn't allow submission. It was a draw.
Draw, right.
Yeah.
What I don't like, I think it should be clear the winner.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I think he managed to use that as a big catapult to put himself on the same level than other people who've been fighting jiu-jitsu forever and teaching jiu-jitsu forever and being responsible forever. And he says that he doesn't say he invented this or that, mm-hmm. but he doesn't say he doesn't do neither, you know? Like, I don't follow him that close, to be honest, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know everything he says or he doesn't.
Right.
You know, it's the same case with Renato, you know? Mm-hmm. But I just don't think he was that great of a fighter. He was a good fighter who beat Royler. Is a great thing, beat Royler. But that's not a witchcraft. Then you beat the guy, then you take all his titles. Royler still have his titles. And to be honest with you, what happened on that tournament is Royler finished the tournament in a better spot than Eddie. Eddie was 50th place. Royler was 3rd. Because after Eddie lost to Léo Vieira, he didn't come back to fight for the 3rd place. So they go back and bring Royler. So Royler beat Soca and took 3rd on that year.
Oh, wow.
So Eddie not even get on the podium of Abu Dhabi. You know, and then some people have the misconception idea that Eddie win Abu Dhabi. And I obviously know that Eddie never said he won Abu Dhabi. But it's a kind of misconception that some people have who are not so close to.
Right.
Like they think that was the finals match.
They thought Royler was the finals. Yeah.
No, it was the second round. He did beat Gustavo Machado, what was amazing. You know, like he was tough, but being tough in 3 tournaments for 5 fights is not the same thing than be tough 30 years like Royler, who put his ass on the line all the time, That's my point. A lot of people, this guy's tough. How many times he fight? No, he fight a super fight last year, three super fights the year before, blah, blah, blah. So in his whole life, he fought 10 times. And how he's that great? When he went, he put himself on the best tournament against the best. That's what Eddie did in that tournament, that Abu Dhabi is the best tournament against the best.
Right.
But he did not win. What's not a shame at all. Léo Vieira is a monster.
Yeah.
Man, that kid, when I was 2-time absolute champion, he was beating the crap on me, Like, Léo is my best friend, was my best friend for a long time. And that's my reference as a jiu-jitsu. The best person I ever spar with was Léo. He knows so much. He's so good. He sees so much ahead. But really, this drug stuff, I don't like. I don't think there's any benefit, and then you lose your argument. Like
What about benefit for, not talking about all drugs, but specifically like marijuana? Benefits of for cancer patients and for people, in the medical
and
terms.
if that exists, then should it be legal by use for the people who really have these problems, these diseases, like for epilepsy, they have the oil stuff.
Right.
But I doubt then the best way to administrate the marijuana is smoking. I'm pretty sure if you have cancer, is some components inside the plant, and assuming that is good for some kind of cancer. I don't know. I never did the research, but let's assume helps with the symptoms of some kinds of cancer. I don't believe smoke was the best way to ingest. I think you could chemically separate the elements, what makes sense, that will work you, and put in a pill and ingest the pill, or make a oil. And then I have zero problem with people who really legitimately have problems, and that is a legit treatment. Right. But that's not what happened in California. That's not what happened around the country. If you go, you probably went to Venice Beach. You go, there is a store when a guy give you a prescription. Right. Those people are not sick. They don't need. They use that for recreation. Use. Then you can argue if should it be recreational, should it be legal or illegal. That's another story. But that's what these people do a lot, is mix recreational use with medicinal use. Mm-hmm. That's two completely different stuff.
Yeah.
And then when the people use the medicinal drug, use the medicinal prescription to have recreational use, that's not good. That stall the research what could be done, and if that really helps some stuff, what looks like helps some stuff. Should be administered.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't know all the research with legalizing marijuana and all that stuff, but I'm certainly pro helping people with cancer and helping people if it's medically, if that's what it comes out, great. What I think personally is like the biggest thing that people should not be doing is drinking alcohol. I don't like alcohol personally, but
I'm with
I think
you.
that's more of a killer than anything.
What one thing has to do with the other?
It doesn't. I just think that alcohol should be categorized more as a drug than anything else, really.
I'm with you.
I'm with you. It's crazy.
I just don't think this has to do. One thing doesn't have to do with the other.
Right.
You cannot say, alcohol is really bad. A lot of people drive alcohol. Nobody never been caused accident with marijuana. That's a lie. Nobody never been caught with marijuana because nobody been tested by marijuana after an accident. Come on. We know. We all had friends who smoke and went to drive. Mm-hmm. We know when you are high, you don't function on the same way than you function when you're sober. Nobody want to pick up a plane with somebody smoking pot inside the cockpit. Nobody want to pick up a plane with somebody drinking whiskey inside the cockpit neither.
Right.
But they are two different things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and you wanna the marijuana to be legal, what you willing to give? You're willing to say, okay, marijuana is legal, but if you smoke pot in front of a school, you're gonna be arrested or you're gonna be fined. If you drive under the influence, you're gonna be arrested or you're gonna be fined. If you cause an accident, you're gonna be arrested or you're gonna be fined. If you know, I don't see nobody say no. They just wanted the right, but they don't want to have the responsibility.
Right. Yeah.
You know, just the good side, but the bad side, the responsibility. Nobody wanna. You know, I'm against, and I know I have a lot of friends who are using pot. You know, and I know people who do well in jiu-jitsu who use pot. That has nothing to do one thing with the other. The guy used pot and win tournaments of jiu-jitsu. He could win many more. You know? I think this is slow you down. There's no way that you put chemicals on your body. If that's going to make you hype or slow you down, this is not going to make you better. This is altering your conscience. This is altering your perception of the world.
Right.
You know? The reason why you think you're being more creative is like when you have a dream. How many times you dream with jiu-jitsu? A technique awesome.
Right.
A drill awesome.
Right.
You know? Like I take a nap before I go teach on the afternoon.
Yeah.
And man, 50% of the time I wake up after dreaming with a drill, what seems awesome when I wake up, 5 minutes later, makes no sense at all. You know, because it was just a dream,
Right,
out of my sense.
Exactly.
So then do a drill
Right.
where I twist myself everywhere, makes sense, but
Right.
practically will not work.
Right.
And I think, you know, it is not my thing. You know, I don't hate people from 10th planet. I don't agree. I think it's easier to learn jiu-jitsu with gi than no gi. So we have some differences.
Yeah.
But it's not like I hate people from 10th planet.
Right.
I don't have many friends on 10th planet just because I don't.
Right.
You know, some kids who I see in Chicago Open here, they are nice with me and nice with them. You know, I respect everybody. You know, unless you do something, you disrespect me. You know, I will be good with you. You know? I have nothing personally against people who I don't know. Here I don't know what I know about him. I don't know him personally. He might be a person like Renato, you know, that when you know, I said, oh, fuck, this guy is that
Right.
guy.
Exactly.
You know, but they like
Yeah.
flat earth. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like it's some stuff just too dumb.
Yeah. Me too.
All right. Well, where can people find you on social media and all that fun stuff?
At CompridoBJJ.com.
Okay.
It'll be easy.
Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook.
it
I have Twitter, but I never respond. So don't send me messages.
Yeah, Twitter's a tough one.
I'm better to respond. I have to tell you guys that. On the academy, I'm always on the academy. If I'm not traveling, I'm at the academy teaching all the classes. And every time I'm traveling, I make sure I have somebody very, very capable to cover my classes.
Yeah.
You know. And I'm always on the academy, so in Bloomingdale, on the Stratford Square Mall, if people want to stop by and roll a little bit, that's what I'm at.
And then are you open? You have open mats and
not really.
no open mats. But people
But if people show up, you know, and then want to
drop in and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't have open mats just for the team. You know, I have Brasa trainings and stuff.
Okay.
But I don't have a day what I do open. I was thinking about doing something like that, but I don't know.
Maybe Highland Park.
Maybe one day. If I do, we'll be on my school.
Yeah.
On the where I'm at every day.
I see. Yeah.
You know,
We're invited though, right?
maybe.
Okay.
Of course, everybody is welcome. You know, like if you want to go there and train in one day, you know, like that's fine. You know, everybody will be well treated there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome.
And then when we go to snowboard in Utah, we'll send you the invite.
Let's go to snowboard here first.
Okay,
I'm
we
gonna
go here
die
too.
in
We'll go here
Utah.
too. You're not going to die in Utah.
I'm gonna have
to. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming
Thank
on the
you, Comprido.
podcast. And then,
Thank you very much, guys.
Good luck at your seminar coming up. All right. We'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Grappler Union. Siri, how can our listeners find out more info?
For more information about Grappler Union, you can visit them on the web at grapplerunion.com or follow them on Instagram and on Twitter at Grappler Union. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/Grappler Union. Also be sure to subscribe on iTunes. All episodes are available on the Grappler Union YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. Anthony, I really enjoyed the podcast. Can't wait to hear the next one.
Thanks, Siri.